We're going to call this meeting of the School Building Committee to order. Today is Thursday, October 26, 2023. Welcome, everyone. Our first item of business is the approval of the October 12 minutes. Is there a motion?
I'd like to move we approve them.
Randy,
Yes,
there's a mistake in there. It says I'm not at the meeting and I was at the meeting.
hold on. No, it shows you present. Hold on.
Does?
Yes, it does at the top.
Oh, I didn't see me in the top of the minutes.
Oh, no, you're right. You're right. Never mind. We'll add, okay, so that's a correction.
I'm in there making a motion on something, but I'm not.
Yes, yeah, okay. Hold on here. So,
I'll move that we accept the amended minutes.
okay, we have a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second from Chris McNamara. All in favor, please indicate. Any opposed or abstentions? Okay, Mary abstains. Okay, that brings us to the opportunity for public input. Is there anybody from the public that would like to address the committee? Seeing none, we'll move on. That brings us to our updates. So I guess, Adam, I'll turn it over to you.
So in terms of the updated list, there are a few items. The main one from last meeting was obviously the cafeteria acoustics. That purchase order has been coordinated with finance and submitted, so those are in the process of getting manufactured. In terms of the testing, we got some clarification yesterday with regard to what the sampling process wants to be, how many samples. And we're working today with Peter Dart and Principal McCoy and the rest of the group and Jeff about what panels to remove to send in for testing. So that's also in process. Anything on cafeteria acoustics or just acoustics in general, I should say?
Questions? Yes.
I'd
Chris?
like to get Kate just joined us. Kate, can you give us an on the ground sort of sense of how it is? If it has improved classrooms or otherwise? Peter, I imagine you've been there.
I have. So hopefully Kate can jump in. Visited the classrooms when the felt tiles were installed that day. So there was a lot of conversation around it. I think as teachers go in and out of that room, they do notice not a change in decibels, but a change in the reverberation aspect of it. I think teachers were excited about it. They've actually now requested to have more of them. And I talked to Alan about maybe even extending a few more just to give that added extra level. But I see Kate on now, so I'll defer to Kate.
Thank you, everybody, and thank you for your patience. It's dismissal time here. So yes, I can echo what Peter's saying. The classrooms that have received the felt are showing a difference in relation to classrooms just adjacent to them. And again, it's not overall decibels, but just a less of a reverb and easier clarity of speech. I actually had the opportunity to present in both rooms on Monday to large groups of adults, and you do sense the difference. I was able to, in two of the kindergarten rooms, one with the panels and one without, but also exactly what Peter said, adding more to the sides. So they're on, the front and the back, to say, like, so let's say they're on the north and the south. The request is to add some to the east and the west walls in those classrooms.
And the issue was never really the decibels in the classrooms so much as it was the echoing anyway. Right?
Correct.
It's the noise level and echoing in the cafeteria.
Correct.
Good. Thank you.
What's very curious to me is the rating for those felt panels is only a 0.35. So that's pretty good if you're getting that much of an improvement. Because I think what we specified with those panels that have been painted was a 0.85 to a 1. I think the cafeteria was a 0.85 or 9. So that's almost a third, of what they, it sounds that even with that, the felt seems to be doing its job. So it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, but I do think it's subtle. And so, Jeff, I was hoping that we were going to be able to get a measurement in those classrooms just to get some metric of a measured difference. Because I don't notice it as much going in, but the teachers who work in the room have reported the change.
Okay, I did notify our acoustician to get over there, so I'll follow up with that.
For the moment, but okay, we got other, okay. Okay, then we can move on to the next item, Adam.
Next item is so the heat pumps and commissioning, and well, less of the heat pumps, but just the overall commissioning effort. So there was some additional input over the past day or two from teachers as the systems have sort of been shifting back and forth between air conditioning and then heating, and then I think it was 78 today, so maybe there's some more air conditioning. So there's some additional feedback there that came through some of the emails. I know there was a meeting just before this call. I don't know, Scott, were you able to join in on that with the commissioning agent?
Yeah, thanks, Adam. Yeah, Scott Pellman from Colliers. Yeah, we just spent about an hour, looking at the dashboard, going over, some of the recent progress, some of the input we've gotten from the staff. There still is some. I think they've made quite a bit of progress. We're still seeing some things that are a little bit unusual as far as tracking on the dashboard that we're trying to get a handle on. And we're going to be setting up another meeting with the full team in the next few weeks. We're going to request some additional information in coordination and then circle back. So, continuing to, get the building to perform, as it was designed. Not quite there yet, but I do think up until recently made quite a bit of progress. There was one issue, I believe earlier in the week, where the velocity of one of the units in the third grade classrooms, the air movement was back to a challenging point to where it was a month or so ago. They had people out there the next day taking a look at that, so we're waiting for a resolution on that. But it was a good meeting. I think we are making progress, and we're going to continue to meet and to get the project and the building performing as designed.
Okay, any other questions on the heat pumps or dashboard? Okay,
And the last little bit is some of the other either outstanding or ongoing or other items that have cropped up. One of them, you may or may not have heard that there was an issue with one of the gates at the cafeteria where it was stuck down for a number of days. So there are the two roll-up gates, so they could only access half the kitchen from the cafeteria space. So that took some back and forth with the vendor to come out and fix it, but that did get resolved. So that was just a follow-up in case you had heard about that.
Adam,
yeah.
Sorry, the gate is stuck again.
It's stuck again. All right, well, Bill, we'll touch base on the offline on that to follow up on that. But real-time data for the group here.
question?
Adam, can you give us any happier news on other aspects in the kitchen? The dishwasher, the other door, all these old issues that we've been dealing with there. How are all of those?
All inclinations I've heard have been that those have been resolved, and I've not heard any additional issues on those.
Great.
Peter,
Yeah, just agreed. No issues whatsoever.
Rich, question?
I'm getting reports that the gym floor is showing signs of buckling. Has anyone else heard that?
Yep, that was impromptu bullet point coming up here was, yes,
Oh,
it was, yep, nope, you're right on cue. So that was an item that got reported through facilities and through the rest of the project team. It just came through the wire yesterday or the day before, that there's some movement in the gym floor with wood panels, wood sections of it starting to buckle or move. So we had one of our team members from Colliers out there today. And we've reached out to Newfield to see about the floor installer getting out. I don't know that there's any firm determination of causation yet. because this is very recent, but yes, this is something that's high on the priority list as it just came through. Obviously, everyone's focused on this wood floor.
Adam, is the buckling in the sections, do you know, where if the buckling is in in the areas where we had to remove? Or are they in the areas where, we did not remove? Do you know?
That I'm not sure of. That's what I wanted my team member to go out there and investigate, take some photos. I don't know if Kate or Bill can speak offhand on
This is
the.
Alan, and it
location
is an
for Alan.
area where you removed.
Okay.
But it's localized by the door where we had the work with the threshold and the drain. So that threshold area.
Oh, it's that exterior, at that exterior door.
Yeah, that exterior door.
And I think if I may, Scott Pung from Colliers, not to get too deep into this, but I believe it's buckling, but there's also some wider joints noticeable in those areas as well, Alan?
Not in those areas.
Not in those.
No,
areas.
they questioned that there was already some joints that were left with a little more width for the expansion purposes of the floor. So that just came up as a question. I don't think necessarily in that area, no.
Yeah, because sometimes what happens is floors, when they're refinished, boards will stick together. And if you kind of need to break those bonds and to get them to settle out. So if there were wider joints adjacent to that area and then boards that were stuck together with the refinishing, that could potentially buckle. But we'll evaluate with the photos. We'll get Jeff and Richard involved, notify the contractor, and we'll try and get it corrected as quickly as possible.
Just Ryan.
I know the emails that I saw about this, there was, I think there's just a picture of the buckling, at the one threshold. I didn't realize that was an exterior door. I was trying to figure, I didn't know that, but have any pictures made their way around for the other described issue? The gaps where I think you're saying a marble of some size might be able to slip through. Adam, do you have any pictures that can be shared, or has that just been described?
That was just a description I saw somewhere. I don't.
Okay.
I don't know
Thanks.
photos.
Those were those expansion
Those are-
joints?
yeah, I thought it was like basically the expansion joint, like over expanded or something. Was what I thought I read, but. Is that the case? Were these expansion joints, but there was just a very prominent gap? Is that what I remember reading?
Oh, it looks like this says here, they seem to be sinking, the planks look like, to a point that a marble will stay in the groove. So, yeah,
Sinking. So it's more of a vertical separation?
I
than-
don't know. We have to get out there and
So
see
to
this.
that point, it might be that, it's just heating in this spot, which creates a valley adjacent to where two of the boards have peaked up, or it could be just also settling someplace else. I think that's the crux of the extent and the mechanism of what's going on. And then leading to causality after that. But in terms of what's happening, it's early. So we're still getting data on that.
Because I guess the second part of my question about that was I couldn't tell from the description if those gaps emerging were in the area that was replaced, or if that was the old wood. I'm assuming that was in new, the most of it was new, so I'm assuming it's in the new, but.
That's my understanding, yeah.
That area by the door was some,
Well, that
It was all new.
that was all
Yeah.
new, that, yeah.
that'll, yeah, it was like 2/3 of it was, okay.
Alan or Bill, do either of you have any firsthand knowledge of this? And I'm curious where the first report of it came from and what's our source?
This is Alan again. Our source was I think through the gym teachers, but the custodial crew reported it to Bill, and then Bill passed that word on to Colliers, I believe.
Good, thank you.
Tony? And then Mary?
I'm sure this is what everybody is thinking, but that's the door that leaked in the past, and buckling is often caused by the presence of water. So I hope this is not the beginning of a much bigger problem.
No, that was something that when I talked to the guy that we sent out to the field today, that was one of the items that I asked him to take some photos of, because exactly that issue that might be the answer, but we don't know yet.
I would also be looking for air drafts getting through there to see how well the door is sealed, because if there's air scooting through there, moisture could condense right there. So rather than saying water, I think moisture may be the problem, if indeed that is it.
Mary, did you have a question?
I did, I just, Adam, did you say that pictures were taken today?
Yes, our
Okay, I was
yes.
just going back to Ryan's point, if they hadn't been at this point, I would think that's something we could do on our own, no? Our own facility staff could
Actually,
probably document that for us if we needed it.
actually on Tuesday, I believe we got an email with some photos from Bill through Asset Essentials. So I'm
I think
looking
that
at,
was-
I'm
yeah.
looking at them right now. There's just 2
Oh,
photos.
great.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw the photos with the threshold, the buckling. I just didn't see any photos through Asset Essentials related to this marble gap that we were talking about.
It's
which is-
expansion joint.
Expansion joint, yeah.
Okay,
Of that.
thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, so the picture is right at the threshold. And it's a slight elevation, so.
Yeah, we had a similar issue on a newer floor install at a project a couple of years ago. And again, what they ended up doing was, because you would think right now we're going into the winter months, it's getting cooler, the floor is contracting. But again, if some of the boards are stuck together with the finish, they will pull away, causing, bigger joints. So what the flooring contractor came back and actually brought a padded machine onto the floor and kind of rolled across the floor to break those bonds in the boards that were held together. Now, again, we'll wait and see once we get the, a full range of photos to show the condition. But that may be part of the issue. And I understand that in newer floors, that is a situation that can arise from time to time.
It looks like this is on the end grain though, right?
Yes. Yeah, so that's right at the threshold. It's tip 90 degrees.
Right.
So, at this point, there's no action to be taken. We just need to get some more information.
Correct. Steve, I think you were trying to say something. It came in kind of quiet while someone else was talking. I didn't know if you.
Are the kids using that door? Getting out? Emergency egress in the door? I'm just curious.
Steve, it's really hard to understand you. Can you maybe get closer to your microphone?
Close as I can possibly get without.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Are the kids using that door to go in and out of the gym?
Are the kids using that door to get in and out of the gym?
Kate, are you still there?
I'm here. The door that they were working on I guess I'm not familiar enough with it. The exterior door? No.
It's the exterior door that goes basically out toward the well house, the building.
Yeah, up the ramp.
No, I mean,
The gym teacher said he uses it just about every day.
Yeah. So to the mayor's point, that door is an emergency egress door. There's a double door next to it that goes out to the patio. That consider less of an issue of any moisture infiltration coming down from that slope. I mean, there is a potential that with that door being open and shut and the kids getting in there with wet feet or coming from the outside could be causing moisture to get into that floor right at that edge.
There is a walk-off mat there right outside the door.
Oh, there is?
Yep.
Is that walk-off mat covering that trench drain that we put in?
Nope.
Let's hope they wipe
Nope.
their
I'm
feet.
looking at it right now.
All right, let's hope they wipe their feet.
but I guess my question would be, are you saying that the door, it shouldn't be used? That it's only, that doesn't,
Defer to the architect, but based on getting the certificate of occupancy and what the function of that door was, it was for handicapped access for gym functions. And it was for emergency egress only.
It would be interesting to stop using it and see what happens.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, actually, the all doors in the gym are part of the egress way out. So you should be able to use those doors regardless though.
All right.
But he does
Yeah,
have a point.
okay. So anyway, we'll get additional information, so we're not speculating on things.
The last two items I had, one, just an update on the lightning protection RFP, because that came up. That came up last meeting. They did close, but we did not receive any bids. I did some outreach to the vendors and got some clarifications as to what happened there, and got some updated information and scope from Kohler Ronan. And in addition to some other potential contacts to do further outreach. So that should be going back out on the street. I would anticipate early next week to try to get some numbers for that. And then the last bit, we had heard from Newfield a couple of weeks ago about the site poles, that they were shipped and they were just working through some of the potential logistics and timing and all that. I don't know, Steve or Brian, if you have any update on that.
Right now, they're negotiating the labor component. Ferguson has the poles. And I think they thought they would be able to do 3 light poles or 5 light poles per weekend, equaling maybe 3 or 5 light poles a day. We're just trying to work that out and keep you posted as to the warranty replacement.
Do we have a time that, we're getting into winter pretty soon, so you anticipate this being done?
Yeah, we certainly hope. I'll follow up with Ferguson Electric and their site lighting vendor. We're just working through the numbers of what they need to pay.
Okay, but the light poles are available.
Oh, yeah, we got them.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
Any questions on the light poles? Yeah, it's just, we're waiting on the date.
And that's what I had on my list for that type of update.
For,
Randy?
yes, go ahead. Go ahead,
Sorry
Kathy.
to interrupt. Just curious, did I miss something? Or we had some rather unattractive pictures on Facebook about our new Mansfield pond, the retention pond. Where are we at with that? Unless I missed it.
That's baked into the discussions with town attorney and the contractual review process. So there's no active work ongoing at the pond basin, retention basin. And that's being coordinated through, like I said, town leadership and town attorney.
Great. Thank you, Adam.
Just Ryan.
On that topic, I am curious because I know there was some discussion on that particular social media thread about it. So the species that are planted there, which I understand, I guess, not to be tamarack, but something else that are, so are they dead or are they not dead? Like, are the orange that's there now, somebody suggested, because I agreed with an earlier commenter that if it's tamarack, because I have tamarack on my property, I'm familiar with it. When they drop the leaves, it goes more of a yellow, and it's a very stark orange. So if it's something other than tamarack and maybe it holds on to those needles, it may not be dead. Certainly, it looks dead. Does anybody know?
We can look that up. I will anecdotally say that last year when the pond was higher or the basin was higher, it had a couple feet of water in it. It looked, there were a number of conversations about those trees being very, very dead appearing. And we thought they were toast. And then they sprang back to life this year in spite of being encased in ice. And when I talked with the landscape architect, they indicated that whatever species, and again, we can follow up on that, those are extremely hardy, and that's sort of what they do. So the point I guess I'm just trying to make is the appearances have been deceiving to a number of us in the field, but that was as designed. So I don't anticipate they're being dead, but again, we'll follow up on what species they are.
Thank you.
Okay. Then, guess we can move on to. Oh, yes, let's ask about.
What's the status of the wall cap?
So the stone that was procured, or going back, so this was the issue where there was a splitting of the scope where the material was procured by the town, but the installation was still to be under the Newfield contract, and the town got a credit back for the material. So the stone is on site, but I would look to Brian or Steve to comment on the installation.
Yeah, I'll only make reference to Brian Grant's letter sent to the town and to Scott Pelham.
Steve, can you repeat that? It was hard to understand again.
Yeah, I'll refer to Brian Grant's letter. I don't know the date of it, and don't have it in front of me. Relative to the work that we said that we would complete, which has now been completed. And discussion of that wall cap later is going to be deferred to.
Is the wall cap addressed in that letter?
It's addressed, what we address is the work that we would intend on, we agreed to complete. Wall cap, the install of it was an agreement that was made between Newfield and Colliers at the time that we were on the job. This whole wall cap thing and the legs that it took and the length of time for this thing to get, we're now demobilized from the job. And there's a cost for us and or our subs to get back out there to do that work. So no, right now we have no intentions of installing a wall cap.
Okay. Okay, we're looking for the clarification. Okay, any other questions? All right, we can move on then to the, oh, sorry. Chris Maxwell, go ahead.
Just a quick question about the fencing that had some significant defects on it, marring and some
Like the paint.
rusting and things like that. What do we end up doing with that?
The boundary fencing?
Newfield subcontractor did come out and touch up paint the fence. That's an item was on the punch list, so we'll be coordinating with TSKP on if their touch-ups met the intent of the install. So they did come out and do the touch-up of paint.
When will that review be, Adam?
We're coordinating with TSKP on that front now, I know, and with town attorney.
Okay.
Winter's approaching.
Ryan?
Gonna have to do this listening to my own voice on echo. It's been raised, a concern was raised in a town council meeting that I think was raised in a school building committee meeting relative to the actual carved out Mansfield Elementary School lettering at the main entrance and the perceived inadequate spacing between the words Mansfield and elementary and school that appears to kind of run together as the second longest word in the English language. And so I just didn't know if anybody's taken a look at that, if there was any fixes proposed to provide a little bit more spacing to break up those three words or some other innovative solution to make it read as less like one continuous word.
I have only seen the picture, but my quick solution or response, it isn't really a solution, is to put dots between the words, between Mansfield Elementary School. That's what I would do halfway up and just sort of punctuate. You could even put them at the ends if they fit, but I don't remember. That was my first thought there, rather than redo the entire thing and then you end up with holes from the prior installation.
Yeah, because it would take any holes.
So it doesn't sound like a tiger team was formed to address this particular issue yet. So, okay. Right.
If the committee wants to get, some pricing for the dots, we can look into the vendor and see if they can provide a quick quote for dots.
We have to spec out the dots.
I'm sure the spec has some data that we can pull.
All right, Rich, you have a question?
Well, I would suggest maybe the dots might be even more complicated than just painting the middle words so they all stand out as 3 separate words.
Wow. Okay.
Innovative solutions, like I said, I thought there'd be some innovative solutions out there.
Okay. Let's move on then to PCOs.
So there are 2 items to discuss this evening. The first item is actually, there's no documentation for it. It's the testing laboratory as part of the basin went out and did some of the tests requested by Fuss and O'Neill in coordination with the evaluation of the bottom of the basin. As part of that, they just ticked over their ongoing allowance. So the invoice that's in the invoice packet would exceed what's been currently allocated under their PO. So this is just a standard small amount to get them, so that way they can get the invoice for the testing that was performed paid out.
Okay, so is there a motion regarding the IMTL PO?
I would like to make a motion to approve, excuse me. A motion to approve an increase in the amount allocated to IMTL by $2,500 for ongoing materials testing under town PO 22001016.
Okay, is there a second? Tony, thank you. Any questions, comments? Then all in favor of the motion, please indicate. Any opposed or abstentions? Okay.
The second is one we haven't done in a while, is the PCO 200. Al Howitt, the project manager for Newfield, reached out as he was going through some of his financial reconciliations. And there were 2 PCOs that inadvertently had the same number. One of them is still actually part of the ongoing discussions, but this other one kind of slipped through the cracks. I reviewed it. TSKP and Kohler Ronan reviewed it. It does appear to be that there was additional work provided and it was installed and there's no issues with it. I spoke with the town attorney just about process because there are outstanding claims and things of that nature. And he indicated that if there's no question or concern about the work as installed, that it would be appropriate if the SBC wishes to approve this and add this to Newfield's contract to not have another thing dangling out there. The scope of this is there was a heat and smoke detector in an electrical room that needed to be added.
Okay.
So it was not in the plans to put it in?
Correct.
So would this be an error on the part of the engineers?
Unless it was something requested as a code interpretation by the building official or the fire marshal. I don't know that offhand yet. We can look into that.
Yeah, let's
But-
look into that before we, do what Chris is saying.
But in terms of the added scope to Newfield, yes, it would be an add to what they were asked to do from the contract drawings.
And I would move we approve this amount. You can make it
A
official.
motion to approve PCO 200. Okay.
Okay, I'd like to move to approve the invoice packet dated 10/26/20. Oops, sorry. No, not that one. Retract all of that. This is PCO 200, and I'd like to make a motion to approve PCO 200 dated 10/23/23 in the amount of $2,492.80 for the installation of a heat and smoke detector for detectors in electrical room 120. So I assume there are more than one. For that price, I hope there are. But if all
We
you
have a
guys
motion.
look at
Okay,
it-
we have a motion. Is there a second? Chris McNamee, thanks. Then any further questions? Then all in favor approving the motion regarding PCO 200, please indicate. Any opposed or abstentions? Okay. Brings us to the to our invoice packet?
And I'll unmute myself for good measure. So the invoice packet for this evening includes invoices from ACT Group, who's the existing town contract for copier moves and setups. Colliers, Hartford Current for the advertisement for the lightning protection RFP. IMTL, the aforementioned materials testing that I just referenced for the basin, and TSKP's monthly invoice that gets us current with their scope for a total of $30,894.37.
Okay, do we have a motion? All right,
I would make a motion to approve the invoice packet dated today, October 26, 2023, including invoices from ACT Group, Colliers Project Leaders, the Hartford Current, IMTL, and TSKP for a total approval of $30,894.37.
okay, we have a motion, second. Chris McNamara. All in favor of approving the motion? Please indicate. Any opposed or abstentions? Okay, thank you. Then that brings us to adjournment.
I'll move, we adjourn.
Okay, so thank you. Second.
I'll second.
Thanks, Mary. Then all in favor, we can sign off and we'll see you next time. Thank you all.